This is the derivative of inverse functions. Let's start out to remember what inverses are. So what an inverse is, if f negative 1 of x is our inverse function, then if the point AB is on f of x, then the point BA is on f inverse of x. Graphically, the graph of f prime of, or f to the negative 1 of x will be a reflection on y equals x. So take what's the easiest function to see it out of? If we did some kind of exponential function, and the equation of logs looks something like this. Okay, because those are inverses. Okay, analytical if you took the composite of a function and its inverse, either way you're going to be left with x. Okay, so all we're going to do is go down here and start flipping some x and y values. Still haven't started talking about derivatives. This is all remembering what inverse functions are. So here's f and g. Complete the following tables: f(x) and f prime of x. So we're just going to flip. 3, 2 will be my domain. Negative 2, negative 1 will be my range. 1, negative 2, negative 2, 1. All I'm doing is flipping x and y's. So here we go, we got f of the inverse of g inverse of negative 2. Well, g inverse of negative 2, if I look at x to the negative 2, or g of negative 2, I get this. Okay, so here and here. So if this is my x, and so it's just 1. F of 1 equals 2. Okay, f prime of f of 1, so start out with f of 1. F of 1 will be 2. F prime of 2 goes back to 1. That's just what we set up here. F prime of 2 will give me 1, so I have g of negative 1. G of negative 1 is negative 2. So all I'm doing, 2, 1. G of negative 1, 1 is 2. Alright, so we know that this all goes away. G, I take the composite of a function as inverse, I'm just left with that same x. So now f prime of 1, it's not here. Not here are our x values, therefore it's undefined. Alright, so just a little reminder of what the inverse is. And this is basically the same thing we're going to do when we take the derivative. You just have to remember the derivative formula. Alright, so let's figure out how to find the derivative of an inverse function. Okay? So, if we differentiate both sides of the equation, this comes straight from the chain rule. If I take, alright, the derivative of x is 1. The derivative of this function will be f prime of everything in here in the middle times f. That's the notation I'm going to use for the derivative of the inverse. So I'm going to put my prime over here. Now we're looking for the derivative of this inverse, so it's f. If we divide both sides, f prime, f negative 1 x. There you go. Okay? Alright, so suppose that f of x is this, f prime of negative 2 is 3. What is the value of f inverse negative 4 prime? Well, let's figure out what the inverse function is first. We switch x and y and solve for y. Alright, so subtract 2, divide everything by 3. So f prime of x equals 2x minus 2 over 3. Okay? So, we want to know what we know that this is this, f prime of f inverse of x, right? Based just on the definition. So I want to know what Alright, so I'm looking for the inverse of x is negative 4. So put negative 4 over here. Let's see. This equals negative 6 over 3, which is negative 2. So now we know that part, so f, it gave me f prime of 2 right here is equal to 3, therefore equals 1/3. And this is basically as tough as it gets. Okay, you're going to have a lot of charts with questions like this. Alright, so let's keep going. So we got the chart there. Let's find the value of f, the derivative of f inverse of 3. Well, we know that f inverse prime is 1 over f prime f negative 1 of 3. Alright, so negative 3. So 3. The function f, 3 and 1 is a point, then 1, 3 will be a point. So, excuse me, 1, 3 is a point, so in the inverse, 3, 1 is a point. So f inverse of 3 equals 1. F prime of 1 equals to 2. Alright, so G prime is 1 over G inverse of x. In this particular one, they want x is negative 2, 1 over G. Okay, so negative 2. Well, here, if x is negative 2, G is 2. That's in the function g. Therefore, negative 2, 2 would be in the function g inverse. So this x is negative 2, and then g inverse, I'm left with positive 2 here. Now I'm left with g that's a prime. Let me write it where you can read it a little bit better. G prime of 2. I've messed up somewhere. Let me see. Alright, so g prime negative 2, negative 2, negative 2, and 2. So therefore, it's 2. G prime of 2 is not listed on here. Let me double check one more time before we say it's undefined. Negative 2 and 2. Yes, I was making a mistake. The point, the point 1, negative 2 is in the function g. So in g inverse, the point negative 2, 1 has to be in it. So g inverse of negative 2 equals 1. So there's a mistake I made. Be careful. I always work these problems before I make these videos, and so now g prime of 1, this one's easy. 1, g prime is 1 over 1, which is 1.